yogi with face turned upwards and the hole in the palate closed firmly by the tongue by Hatha Yoga meditates on the supreme power, that is Kundalini, Parashakti, and drinks the clear stream of nectar flowing from the moon into the lotus, that is in the throat. He is then free of all diseases and has a body soft as a lotus silk and lives long. In the interior cavity of the upper part of the Meru, that is the Sushumna, the fountain head of the Nadis, nectar starts flowing. Performing Kekari Mudra. With pure intellect, full of sattva, devoid of any trace of rajasa tamas, the yogin sees therein the ultimate truth, that is the Atman. If the life-giving nectar flows uncontrolled, death will result. Therefore, Kekari Mudra should be meticulously practiced to stop this flow downwards, and without using this, the yogin cannot achieve the perfection of the body. The hole in the meeting place of the five nadis bestowing spiritual knowledge. Kekari Mudra stands firm in that pure void. There is only one seed of creation, that is Om, only one Mudra, the Kekari, only one deity, the one not dependent on anything, and only one spiritual state, that is Manonmani. What is Uddiyana Bandha? This bandha is called Uddiyana by yogis, by which the prana is arrested and flies through the Sushumna. Because this great bird, which is prana, flies up incessantly through Sushumna, it's called Uddiyana Bandha. The drawing up of the abdomen above the navel so that it rests against the back of the body is called Uddiyana Bandha, and it is like a lion that kills the elephant death. He who constantly practices Uddiyana Bandha as taught by his guru so that it becomes natural, becomes young even though he is old. Becomes natural means that it follows naturally after powerful expiration. He should draw back with effort the abdomen above and below the navel and practice for 6 months. Then, without doubt, he conquers death in 6 months. Of all the bandhas, the Uddiyana is the most excellent. When this has been mastered, Mukti follows naturally. Moola Bandha is pressing the perineum with the heel, contract the anus and draw the apana upwards. By contraction of the Mooladhara, the apana, whose course is downwards, is made to go upwards through Sushumna. Therefore, the yogis call it Moola Bandha. Pressing the anus with the heel, contract the air forcibly and repeatedly until the breath goes upwards. Moola Bandha, which unites prana and apana, nada and bindu, will doubtless give perfection in yoga. With constant practice, Moola Bandha, besides uniting prana and apana, induces decrease in urine and excrement. Even the aged will become young. When you properly perform pranayama with bandhas and mudras along with the right diet, your urination and other excretions become very limited. There is just a little perspiration. This is because there is not much gross poison left in the system. When the apana rises upwards and reaches the circle of fire, then the flame of the fire grows long and bright, being fanned by apana. This is to be taken symbolically so that you can get a mental picture of how the Kundalini functions. The fire is the Kundalini. Just as the fire becomes bigger when it is fanned by the wind, so when the prana and apana are united, this starts to fan the Kundalini. It becomes brighter. When the apana and the fire join prana, which is naturally hot, then the heat in the body becomes considerably bright and intensified. This is not physical heat, it is psychic heat, and you can see the radiations. It is said that a true yogi's body will shine even in advanced age. There will be no wrinkles. As a result, Kundalini, which is asleep, feeling the extreme heat, awakens just as a serpent struck by a stick hisses and straightens itself. Again, this symbolizes awakening of the Kundalini. Of course, there is no serpent there. The energy which is dormant, that is static, becomes kinetic or dynamic. Then the Kundalini goes into its hole, that is the interior of Brahmanadi. Therefore, the yogi should always practice Mulabandha. Always means that you concentrate. Breathing from the bottom, feel that the Kundalini is going up, all the while repeating your mantra. Coming to Jalandhara Bandha, contract the throat and depress the chin firmly against the chest. This is Jalandhara Bandha. It destroys old age and death. It's called Jalandhara Bandha because it tightens the network of nadis and stops the downward flow of the nectar from the throat. This bandha destroys the illnesses of the throat. In Jalandhara Bandha, due to the contraction at the throat, no drop of the nectar falls into the gastric fire and prana does not go in the wrong way, that is, in the space between the nadis. By the firm contraction of the throat, the two nadis are fixed. Here, in the throat, is situated the middle chakra, the Vishuddhi. This binds firmly the 16 adharas or vital centers. Contracting the anus, practice the Uddiyana Bandha. Tighten firmly the Ida and Pingala by Jalandhara Bandha and cause the breath to flow through the upper path, that is Sushumna. By this method, the breath becomes steady, remains motionless in the Sushumna. Then there is no disease, old age or death. Every particle of nectar that flows from the ambrosial moon is swallowed up by the sun. Hence the body becomes old. There is a most excellent process by which the sun is deceived. This should be learned from the Guru himself. A theoretical study of crores of shastras cannot throw light upon it. These threefold bandhas are practiced by the great siddhas. The yogis know that the practice of these ensures success in the Hatha Yoga practices. According to the yoga system, we get old because the ambrosial energy coming from the higher centers is swallowed by the sun. It is just like water dripping into a fire. Every day, from consuming this energy, eventually old age results. But if you reverse this process by stopping the flow for a certain time, then the sun won't swallow the energy. There is no way that I can explain this properly in scientific terms because we are not talking about physical energy but about astral or psychic waves. The all-consuming sun is the fire center at the navel. We stop this flow with the practice of Viparita Karani, and also here we are giving you a warning. It is not a mere physical process which is described, but it is a movement of the psychic energy, that is the prana and apana. Moreover, it is not the physical sun and the physical moon which was referred to above. They are the psychic phenomena. Words cannot explain these things, so you must learn from a guru. Sun and moon assume exactly reverse positions, that is, sun that is now below the navel and the moon that is above the palate, which is changing the plate. This is learnt from the guru. In the case of one who practices this daily, the gastric fire is increased. Therefore, the yogi should always have a large quantity of food ready. That you all don't mind at all, I know. Actually, this should be understood to mean nutritious food. If he stints on his diet, the fire consumes the body. This means that you should not fast while following intensive practice. On the first day, one should stand for a moment upon his head with his heels in the air. This differs from the shoulder stand, since in the shoulder stand, The pressure is on the Vishuddha chakra as well as on the thyroid and parathyroid glands. Here, as there is no pressure on those places, the pranic energy flows. While practicing this, increase the duration gradually every day. After 6 months of regular practice, wrinkles and grey hair disappears. He who practices this for a yama, that is 3 hours daily, conquers death.